Still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you like, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on, just carries on.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum, Monday the 23rd of March, and what a week we've had since the last Fans Forum. Newcastle crashing out of the Champions League at Barcelona. Humiliated, it has to be said, in the second half, although we did give a good account of ourselves in the first half, but losing the game 7-2, 8-3 on aggregate. And then the Tyne derby, we'd already lost down at the Stadium of Light in one of the worst derbies I've ever attended. But Newcastle United losing the derby at St James's Park, sacrilege as it is, by 2-1. And 15 minutes of Newcastle United probably doing what they do best, and then after that, absolutely nothing. Chucked it. No heart, no passion, and just no answer to Sunderland's resilience and better play all round. I deliberately kept off social media. Didn't even comment last night because I just couldn't be chewed. I had a few more drinks with Stu Pem and Steve Hasty, and with Aheed and George and Steve Hasty, etc., in the Strawberry afterwards, and then went home. Absolute nightmare scenario. It really is, and I just don't know where we go from this. I really don't. I could dissect it slightly. I would say that Eddie got it wrong with his team selection. Why he decided against their midfield to play Walter Marder in midfield, I will never know. Yes, okay, we lost Tonali due to injury against Barcelona, but surely the answer was to play Willock, play 3 in the midfield, not go for what essentially worked out as a 2, and in a formation which Joe Linton never plays well in. Let's face it. So Newcastle, almost handing the midfield to Sunderland didn't help. Even our goal, yes, we were pushing on and attacking in that first 15 minutes, but it was down to a Sunderland error. It was fortuitous, to be fair. And had it not been for Ramsdale, it could have been embarrassing yesterday. Because whether you like Ramsdale or not, whether he's your number one or whether he isn't your number one, and let's face it, we haven't really got a very good goalkeeper, whether it's him or Pope. They've both got mistakes in them. Ramsdale did pull us out of it a few times yesterday. And I guess some of those people, who like to remain positive could say it could have been so different had Botman's header gone the right side of the post and gone in, and Newcastle are suddenly 2-0 up. Maybe Sunderland's heads go down and Newcastle can get something out of the game. The disallowed goal, well, it was correctly called off as disallowed. Newcastle, of course, then could have gone 2-1 up. Would that have changed Sunderland, though? I don't know. I think Sunderland have shown throughout this season that they've got resilience. They've got what it takes to stay in the Premier League. They've done that comfortably, and it's not a good day to be a Newcastle United fan from what happened on the pitch. Off the pitch, got to be honest, those scenes outside St James's Park, it never does us any favours. I will always draw the line and say that a lot of the people who are outside holding bottles and cans in those kind of situations tend not to be supporters who are going to the match. They tend to be people who are going to go to a bar in the city centre and watch it. But that doesn't excuse it. They're wearing Newcastle United tops. They clearly support the team, and it's embarrassing. It really is. And I don't know why Northumbria Police do not just make this a bubble game full stop, because that would stop it. Newcastle United, credit to them for the away fixture. I was part of that. Bus crowd that went down there, and it was, with the exception of what I mentioned when we got to Sunderland, it was so well organised. Police organised it well. It's just ridiculous parading Sunderland fans through the town for that kind of situation to develop. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I hope next season that is revisited and they look at it. But well done to Sunderland. They were the better team. And shame on whoever it was who shouted some racist comment at the match. They will be dealt with. They will suffer the ignominy of being probably arrested, and they'll be highlighted as to who they are, and they'll probably get a football ban. But we don't need that in St James's Park either. So, it's not just the football, it's not just the result, but it's all the negativity that goes with that kind of situation and that derby day. And it almost makes the football irrelevant when you see our club's name getting dragged through the dirt as it has been with those other two things away from the football. But that's my little rant over. We're only going to be looking at this. Of course, we've got no game to look forward to now. Eddie's going to get his week of training each week with the lads now. Obviously, quite a few on international duty. Bizarrely, Harvey Barnes called up for England. I scratching my head at that. But then if Steele can get called up as a goalkeeper, I guess I could probably get a call in the next 24 hours. But it's been a bizarre week. It's been an embarrassing week, and we've got plenty of time to stew on it. So I'm going to hand over to the lads who are going to give us their opinions. Tom, you're in the driving seat tonight, mate. What was it like watching that season-defining week, losing to Barcelona and losing to Sunderland stateside?
Yeah, last week, a week ago today, we're all pretty positive. We just come off a nice win at Chelsea, and what a week. It's kind of crushing. And you look back, and I'm just, from the first of the year, we have to kind of think about this in longer term, not just last week's matches or yesterday's match, is that since the beginning of the year, in over half of our matches, we've given up more than one goal. A lot of times 2-3 goals, one time obviously 7 goals. And we've given up more than one goal at home in half the matches, right? So we have a problem defensively. In January, we knew we had a problem defensively, but we elected not to strengthen the back line and not to bring anybody in. I still question that. It seems awfully strange to do that. In the last 15 matches, we've only had one clean sheet. And so, again, if you have a strong defense, you're in every single match. If you have a sieve at the back, you have to outscore the opponents. That makes it much more challenging. I said a week ago that Chelsea should have showed the way to Eddie Howe. We were away at a ground that we didn't do very well. We went to a 5-4-1, 5 at the back. I thought we played very well. Defensively, we were solid. We were effective on the counter, which is where our speed and really comes into play. So when we went to Barcelona, I was really disappointed that we went to a 4-3-3 because I knew that we were not going to keep them out of the back of the net. In fact, a few of the lads are on, we have a chat that we're going through as we're watching the match. And I called for the back 5 and they said, no, we need to attack. And I just didn't see that. Even at halftime, we could have switched formations and went to the back 5. And then we gave up their 4th goal that went right down the center of the pitch with 3 passes. It was depressing. So, why do I say back 5? I say a back 5 because Kieran Trippier doesn't have legs to get back in defense. It's not his fault. He's 36 years old. He's playing to the best of his ability, but he's not that guy. So when we go to a back five, and you can, I'm sorry, when we go with Trippier as a fullback, Chow has been miserable. He's been awful. Chow was our player of the season going into January. When Tino gets hurt, we get Trippier out there for 3 games a week. He physically can't do it. So Chow gets pulled out further, wider, deeper, away from goal. And that's when he slips. That's when he can't turn. He doesn't have the swivel speed in his hips to counter the people that are that are dribbling against him or playing against him when he's out there. So I think Eddie got it wrong with Barcelona. I don't think that, to me, he respected Chelsea more than he respected Barcelona. That blows my mind that he would go to a back five at Chelsea and think that we could go 4-3-3 at Barcelona for 90 minutes. So I was really pissed off. If we had Tino in there, we went with a 4-3-3. I can kind of get it, but Tino is a shell of himself. He hasn't been very good since he's come back, whether that is a niggling pain or whether that is confidence or whether that is just rust, but he hasn't looked very well. He gave up the second goal yesterday, ball watching, which is really disappointing. So Barcelona, I put 100% on Eddie. I do. I think that Chelsea, I was so positive last week that finally Eddie saw the way to play with this squad. And you think back to Rafa Benitez when he talked about his short blanket, right? When you're short of players or quality players, if you play 2 people up front, your feet are going to hang out. If you cover up your head, if you cover your feet, then you're going to be a little bit stale in attack. And that's exactly where we are. That's where we are as a team. We, for whatever reason, we could spend 400 or 500 million pounds. It doesn't matter. We seem to not play as well as we could or should against these big games. And I blame it on Eddie. I blame it on the formation. That going into Barcelona, that was wrong. At halftime, he took trips off, but he stayed in the 4-3-3. Okay, he kind of saw that, but again, Tino wasn't playing the way he could play. Chow has been a shell of what he was, whether that's too many minutes, whether that's mentally fatigued, or whether, as I think, he's just playing too far away from goal for him to play his best game. So very disappointed at the tactics against Barcelona. As far as the first half of Barcelona, it was wonderful, right? Because we were playing on the front foot. We attacked them. It was good. I was happy to be 2-2, and we give up that goal right before half. It's a killer. I mean, and speaking of half times, what does Eddie, talk about at halftime? Because we come out the second half, I think he's singing a lullaby or something because we were asleep both games coming out of the halftime. So I'm really disappointed at Barcelona, embarrassed on a world stage. I was at a big watch party, and people were buying me drinks out of compassion in the second half. So it was really, really depressing. Yesterday was maybe worse. Our fans, we had here in the States, we had they showed the pregame and the pre-match, and whether it was war flags or the fans, the singing, I think I didn't need to turn the telly on. I could have heard the fans here. I'm 3,000 miles away, right? It was loud. The guys came up. I thought Gordon looked really, really good, particularly the first 40 minutes. I thought he was terrific in attack. I thought we showed some effort. Hall, Barnes, Joe Linton, and Gordon along that side in the first half was really, really effective. On the other side, it wasn't as effective. Again, you mentioned I think it was a 4-2-3-1 in attack, and if we have Trippier out playing wide, it's really difficult to have Alanga as really the only person in front of him because he's not a very good defensive player. I'm just talking to the defensive side of the ball. He can't evidently put a cross in either, but just defensive side of the ball. So I think at halftime, Sunderland made some adjustments, and we didn't. When we changed a little bit later on and went back to more of a traditional side, we still looked toothless. I think the morale was out of the lads. I think that The crowd was noticeably quieter. It was an effort that, if Eddie, even if he got it right, I think the players didn't show the fight, the spirit, the energy that they needed to. We were out hustled, we were out muscled. It was a pretty depressing second half. Even going into the second half, you could still they started to change. So really disappointing. I think that Kieran Trippier, I'm picking on him today, but he took how many free kicks in the first half, how many corners in the first half, and these had no pace on it, zero pace. They're floaters. One was 3 yards behind the goal. You know what? Hall came in and did a couple in the second half, and he had pace. It hit the spot where you wanted. It gave us a chance to get that header that would go inside. But why do you have a 36-year-old that obviously has lost his leg? He was captain too, so I guess it's his call on the pitch. Take every single free kick. It was driving me nuts. So we deserve to lose. Deserve to lose both games. I think Eddie didn't learn against Chelsea. I think that he insists on playing tired players out of position, but more importantly, not realizing that if you give up these goals, you're going to be tough to get in every single game. So he's got, as you mentioned, 2 weeks to train his players. We got one game per week. After that, I'll be there for the Bournemouth match. I got me and a friend are coming over. I kind of lost the excitement about coming over to be a little bit because we're playing for nothing at this point in time. I can't see us even sneaking into a conference spot. So, thoroughly dejected. Yesterday was cold, blistery, crap day. I live in near Lake Superior, near the Canadian border. Today the sun was shining, but I don't feel any better. I still feel cold inside. So sorry for being a little depressed, but I think that Eddie's gone anyway. I think he'll finish out the season. But for the guy that's been Eddie's biggest backer for a long time, he's lost me. He lost me with his tactics this week. He lost me with his halftime changes or non-changes or whatever they do inside the locker room at halftime. I have always thought that 4 or 5 years, you need to either completely change your team or you need to completely change a manager because people get complacent and etc. So Eddie's a good manager. He'll do someone very good. But I think unless we turn over the entire team this summer, Eddie for me, even if he wins every match going forward, Eddie for me is not the guy that can take us to 3 matches a week and play the right type of football for the fans that are as fanatical as any, to be this disappointed. And we have 2 weeks to stew on it, to be this disappointed with the effort. Tactics, effort, really disappointing.
Thanks, Tom. We have put a poll in the chat as well, Eddie in or Eddie out. So just chip in on that and we'll announce the results to that a little bit later. Darren, over to you, mate.
Well, first of all, Barcelona. Kind of disagree with Tom. Against Chelsea, we didn't play a 5 at the back from the start. We played a 4-3-3. But I was at the match. We only played 2 centre halves. Burn come on towards the end of the second half against Chelsea. Then he went towards the 3. So we did play a 4-3-3 in against Chelsea with the back 5 of thing. Barcelona first off were really good. Were competitive, were battling, and then Kieran Trippier. Why is he pulling them back is beyond me because we don't know if the player's going to get the ball or not. And he was lucky to stay on the pitch. But some of the goals we give away against Barcelona were just schoolboy errors. Kevin tell you that, like you said, like Howe, the set pieces, and he one's marking Ramsdale, and it was just shocking errors. I think 5 of their goals were just daft mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's when he's saying daft mistakes like that. I know early on in the season we're going to say, "Oh, we've got the best defence going in the league. How about Bollock's got the best? We've probably got the worst defence in the league. Because Dan Bird's a liability. I think he's past his best. I don't believe in us. He's a local boy. He should be playing. He should have been not playing yesterday. To me, the back four should have been Hall, Chow, Botman, and Tino Livramento and Rambo and go. That should have been the starting team, because against Chelsea, that was our back four, and we played all right. But go back to Barcelona. I was so probably embarrassed and annoyed how we got beat up Barcelona. In paper, you expect to get beat up Barcelona because I've got the team to compete with them, and realistically. So you expect to get beat them off them, but not no matter that. You at least to go down fighting them. And once I think he went to 6-0, I went a little shopping. To be fair, I couldn't watch anymore. And now you talk with Sunderland, right? I told you we use team fans outside the game, meeting up high and bottom. However, man, get a grip. There's no need for that. It's just pathetic, really. It's a derby, and we want the derby for the local banter and the thing, but not for bottles getting high. And it just takes you burning football. Like say the police said right in the away fans both games. You're going to understand why, because that's pathetic. Fans doing that.
For fuck's sake.
And the racist abuse. It's no place for that in football, to be fair. That was disgusting. Now you go for Eddie Howe's tactics. I was baffled. Voldemort, he's not a player. He cannot score a goal. He cannot play up front. He plays in midfield. Eddie Howe's trying to get him like Joe Linton. He's trying to turn him out like a Joe Linton. He's got knee-eye. He's never ever going to be like Joe Linton, Voldemort. He's too weak. He's got a touch like an elephant. He just offers nothing. I've seen nothing. I think we've been ripped off. I've seen nothing good in him. And his tactics. Why does he play Joe Willock in midfield? I know he didn't do great when he come on, but play Joe Willock. Play your Joe Linton, your Ramsey, and your Joe Willock. And you can tell we're missing a striker. If he kind of weaks that, and I kind of get on, he comes on with 3 minutes to go. That just tells me he's a bad back.
Doesn't rate him. Doesn't rate him, Don. Doesn't rate him.
Can he go out and he spent 55 million?
I accept.
Like I say, like if Rambo did about 3 or 4 good saves, to be fair, like to save us. But in the second half, you don't have to be a coach, you don't have to be a manager. I was sitting in my seat, and you could see them scoring. It was going to be what point we're going to score. Like Lewis Hall's been our player of the season, but yesterday, crying out loud, that's his worst game he's ever had for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Crossed the ball across the pitch straight to their ball, to their player running up. Dan Byrne, he was gone missing, and then you realised he was playing centre half, so you had to stop.
Have you read my notes, Darren? Have you read my notes? Because that's what I've got down on my notes.
I was at the match, mate. I don't have any note. I know what I've seen in my own eyes. Yeah. I was watching as a player, as a supporter. You could see all the errors all day long. Yeah. The form, like Steve said, that Joe Linton's he plays rubbish in a 4-2-3-1 or whatever. It just doesn't work. And then like maybe come on and start crossing the ball in. We've got any height in the air. I was forming. I got home last night. I went straight to bed. I was that depressed. And the day I've been angry all day. The day like I haven't been in a good mood today. Tomorrow I may come down a little bit, but they are rubbish. But we just made them look good, and I've lost faith in Eddie now. I really have. I just don't think. I don't want him to get sacked. I want to see him leave on his own accord. Thinks he took Newcastle, forcing take like Martin read something out before, and it's bang on what he said.
I'll read it out in a bit.
it was absolutely bang what he said. He's both players and they're not to the level what he started from. It's just so. And then the summer, I started the season. I said we get 56 points. I said that I was the lowest point tallies. When who was it? Was it you, Tom? Asked the points, did you? I'm sure Tom. I don't even made a list.
I'm sorry, I had a phone call, Darren.
You said at the start of the season, you said the points, didn't you? And I was the lowest. I said 56 points.
Yeah, I was the same as you, actually. I agreed with you at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and we're 142. I can't see us getting past 50 points. Now to the end of the season, because I think we've got a few more defeats coming our way.
We got 7 matches, right? 7 matches left. That was
yeah, but we're
7 left. Yeah,
good. We can't score goals. We've got anyone who can score goals. That's the trouble we've got. You've got to like. I think we're just a lot of players will go this summer, and it's Tonali's, your Bruno's. I think they'll go, and it's another rebuild job. And then if Howe goes, and then the new manager, new back will stop having every good with it. So I'm down the tunnel to say like, I'm going to Crystal Palace in 3 weeks' time. Do I want to go? No, but I will go because I support my team. I'll still go down there and cheer them on. I get some more morale back in us, but it's hard at the minute. It's very, very hard. Yesterday was a must-win. It was a must-win yesterday. How can them lot not get up for that game? It's beyond me. The biggest game of the season at home. We've got beat them down there. They would have knew how much I would have hurt us. Now they've done the double of us. And I've had a message of Alan Mackamzal day last night, winding us up. I've got nothing to reply. It's horrible, isn't it? Horrible. So there you go. See, that's my
got memories like goldfish, Darren.
Cheers.
Eh?
Cheers.
Got memories like goldfish. The players. We're going to sort them out 4 months later. In my eyes, it's even worse.
We'll come to you shortly, Alan. We are on borrowed time. You didn't join us at the start, so I've got to finish. I've got to finish on time, right, mate. So
there you go, man.
Come to you next, Martin, mate. Come to you next.
Yeah. I think first thing that's due is I want to take my hat off to Darren and all the lads that travel home and away. As a fan living abroad, I get to St James's when I can, when it's affordable. But you always run the risk of the game changing days and flights. And, Tom is traveling in a week or so. I'm hoping to get there before the end of the season if I can get a hold of a corporate ticket, and the same next season. So, Darren, I take my hat off to you, lad, because it's not easy at the minute. And I think your devotion to the team needs to be called out for what you do and how you travel. So, fair play to you, kid.
Thank you.
Barcelona, where do you start? For a game for 90 plus a half minutes in over 2 games, so 130 minutes, I thought we played well. The first game at St James's, I thought we did exceptionally well. We gave the game to Barcelona, but we gave a penalty away right in the 93rd minute. There was extra time played on top of the usual injury time, the same old shit from referees and everything else, so that Lamal could get his 5 minutes of fame at the back end. But I thought the home game, we played really well, really positive. 45 minutes for the first half in Barcelona. I thought we did okay. Why did we look as good as we did? Very simple. Barcelona played a really high line. They didn't play a low block, and we looked really good because we caught them out twice with a really high line, and we had the pace to get in behind them. Alanga has been hot and cold all season, but I thought he took his 2 goals well. You got to be there to score, and I think he did. The second 45, I don't know what happened. Maybe Eddie and the lads went straight out onto the square in Catalonia and just got pissed, because whatever happened coming back, it was a different team. We stood back, and Kev, maybe you'll call this out on me. I'm no professional coach, but one thing I thought was second half, I thought he changed it and started to go man-to-man marking, and it was a massive, massive mistake because they put a focus on the likes of Furman, Yamal. He was trying to go for man coverage, and what happened was we probably left the most effective player on the pitch, who nobody spoke about, which was Bernal, who created so much space in between our two lines by pulling our midfielders all over the place, which then led to our defenders being pulled all over the place, that Fermin and Lamal just had a field day. Look, Barcelona are a quality team, right? And if you give them the space to play, they're going to hurt you. And they're going to hurt you massively, okay? Now, I'll get to the Sunday game with Sunderland. You're playing against a front three of Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Lamal. Probably one of the best front lines in world football. Up against an aging Newcastle defence when you're trying to play man-to-man marking. It was bloody suicidal. Suicide. We had so much, and we've spoken about this on shows before. I've been critical of it. Darren, Tom, Kev, you've all been on shows, George, and I've criticised the space between our defence and our midfield and how much room we give between the lines where we get caught. One pass cuts it out, and they're in on goal. And it was the same against Barcelona. But when you have that front three, and you have a player like Fermin and Yamal, you're going to get killed. And it's that simple. And yeah, there was errors. We had slips and Trippier, pulling the player back. We should have also had a penalty ourselves for the pull back on Elanga in the first half as well, and we didn't get it. If we're critical, refereeing again, Yamal and Fermin shouldn't have been playing. They should have been on yellows from the first game at St. James's. But there's no way that Barcelona, UEFA, were going to let plucky Newcastle kick out Barcelona. I said it on a show a couple of weeks back. It was never going to happen, so we got what we got. Moving on to Sunday's game. I think, Tom, you're right. We came off the back going into that week of a positive result at Chelsea, who were poor, but we defended well and stoutly. Great goal on the break, and we got 3 points away in London, which, Darren will know, travels regular. We don't do that often. So you go into the week with a bit of positivity. I think the heart overruling the head. You want Newcastle to do well, but I think the head always says, listen, you're probably not going to beat Barcelona, but just go out there and do us proud. But it was embarrassing. It was on the national stage of TV, and you shipped 7 goals. The caveat I would play to that, though, is Chelsea shipped 8 goals. City shipped 5 goals. The Premier League did not do well against other nations. And I think coming out of the Champions League, what it does show and what it did show with some of the results, barring probably Liverpool and Arsenal, was how piss poor the Premier League teams are against their European counterparts. The league is gone and it's dead, and it's a product that is out of date. And I think there's lots of reasons for that. Getting to Sunday's game, I said to lads, I was in the house for about the first 15 minutes and then I had to head out. We were 1-0 up. I'd love to give a massive shout out to War Flags and the 52,000 fans that are in there. I thought the build up, the T4, the start of it, getting the goal, it was everything you want in a derby. And then it went to shit. I said it pre-coming on air, and maybe some folks will agree, maybe some won't. Outside of Gordon, took the goal, gets a little bit of credit. Apart from that, on the pitch, the rest of them were fucking cowards. There was nothing but a bunch of cowards in black and white shirts, and that includes Eddie Howe, Jason Tyndall, his backroom staff, and the lads that were sitting on a bench. You're nothing but cowards because you lost 1-0 at the Stadium of Light and we gifted them a goal, and they were awful. And they weren't much better yesterday. And we had an opportunity with some of their players on the bench. Their main guy, McAlealy, wasn't playing, was on the bench. Lafee was on the bench. They signed a player up front for them, Brian Broby, from Ajax. Cost them 21 million. He bullied our defence all afternoon, and we couldn't contend with him. 20 million from Ajax in Europe. They put a squad together with 15, 16 new players. They spent, and I could be wrong on the figures, in and around about 115 million, including Robin Roofs and a few other players, Ronaldo and the other lads that they brought in. They assembled a whole squad that's turned us over fucking twice. Sorry for the language, Steve, but it is what it is. They turned us over twice with a squad that cost less than our front two in Wissa and Waldemada. That's embarrassing. Not just once, but twice. Lebris has put Eddie Howe in his back pocket, tactically and in-game management. Before Sunderland scored yesterday, Reg Lebris realised that Sunderland were not in the right shape, and he changed it tactically in-game. And as soon as he did that, they were 100 times better than us. And it hurts to say it, but we didn't have the guts, the guile, the endeavour or the energy to match a newly promoted, patched together Sunderland team in our backyard. But you know what, lads? You can fucking do one. You're a bunch of cowards. And I'm ashamed of you. And fans have their right to be annoyed. Because yesterday was your opportunity to put it right, and you didn't. And you let every single Newcastle United fan down. And it's unforgivable. And for Eddie Howe, I'm sorry, but you were out-tacticked, you were outplayed, and you were outmanoeuvred for a second time by the Sunderland manager. And I take my hat off to them. They were great. Robbie drove us into the ground. We had no shape. The ball for the second goal from Xhaka to Talibi into the box for their second goal. If you look at the pause still, look how much room Talibi had between the two lines for Xhaka to find him. Shameful. And then the second goal, Tino just stands there watching while Broby has two stabs at goal. Dear me, lad, what are you doing? I would rather you dive in two-footed and give a bloody penalty away than do nothing. So it was absolutely soul-destroying. I think the lads are right. There's no place for racism. And the lad or lads or whoever it was that said their piece, you'll get your just desserts because you don't represent me and you certainly don't represent the lads that sit on this panel or anywhere else that wear a black and white shirt. The policing, yeah, Darren, I think bang on. I've been to a good few derbies when I lived there. I've never seen policing as bad. How you can let lads walk up that road with a red and white shirt on when you've got Newcastle lads either side, you're asking for trouble. You may as well have just marched them into Shearers and said, there you go, lads, and closed the doors. What were you thinking? So that needs to all be looked at. Where do we go from here, I think, is the big question. And I read it out to the lads, and I think there's a couple of bits, whether you're how in or how out. I was very vocal about how out for a good few weeks. And a good few people came at me and went, give him a chance. He won us a cup, everything else. And I agreed to roll it back. I said, let's see how things play. Alan, you know, we had a discussion. Yeah. I said I would roll it back. I wouldn't be full front on. I'd let it go. I don't know, lads. I'm losing the will to live with it. But I'll read you this. This was from a Bournemouth podcast from 2020. Now, I'm not trying to say how in, how out. Everyone has an opinion. What I would say is those lads who are Eddie Howe out, they can't be questioned anymore and told that they're idiots or they're fools because they're entitled to their opinion. And I don't think they're all that much wrong at the moment, to be fair. But everyone's entitled to opinion, and it is your opinion. So this was from a AFC Bournemouth podcast in 2020, the week that Bournemouth were relegated. So 7 minutes into the podcast, there are a few similarities. So this was one from two lads on the Bournemouth podcast. The players we came up with, and we have realised we've been overachieving. A lot of them are stalwarts who embodied Eddie's hard-working ethic for 3 or 4 seasons. The problem we've got is that the seasons as they went on, they became less effective. And whilst they were stalwarts, Eddie kept on playing them, despite them not being able to perform. As the seasons went on, it became more and more evident that the players that Eddie brought in didn't have the same work ethic and didn't look like his kind of players. In the past 18 months, the new players that Eddie has brought in don't fit with what he's trying to do tactically. And Eddie seems reluctant to change the tactics around the new players to make it work. We've been tactically stale for the last 18 months. He is devoid of trying any new ideas or anything different, and it's rinse and repeat every week. He is persisting with too many out-of-form players out of position, and he can't seem or want to keep a settled side. He's bringing and giving game time to players who are out of form and don't deserve it, and he is dropping players after a game who deserve to start after having a good game. We can't figure it out. Does it make a difference? Not really. We've been relegated. And Howe is gone. What's next? Now, I don't know about you lads and anybody listening. There's a lot of bloody similarities there. That's from 2020, 6 years ago, when Bournemouth were relegated. So look, for me, Eddie gets to the end of the season. I have a few questions. One is, we've lost 2 really good, in my opinion, world-renowned sporting directors. Why is that? Why did we lose those 2 lads? Maybe, yeah, okay. Ashworth went off to Man United. It was the money. I'm sure he was on a good pay packet from Newcastle. Then we lost another one in Mitchell. He made it clear he couldn't get on with Eddie. Eddie wanted too much power. Now we've got Wilson there. I'll give him time to do his job, but we're looking at least, for me, 7 or 8 new players over the summer, and we need to start early, and we need to get them in, and we need to look at Europe, and we need to look at technical players as well as athletical players, because all we've bought so far have been athletical players.
Yeah.
Now, I believe in Waldemar, we've got a good technical player. And a very interesting stat I pulled up today, 9 games that Waldemar has started up front, the team have pulled away with 20 points. The 6 games we've played and where he started in midfield, we've taken 5 points. So there's a player in there. We're not playing him in the right position. I'm going to give the guy a little bit of credit. He had a good start. He's not being played in the right position. He's been made a scapegoat. I think there's a player in there. And I think a manager like Nagelsmann, who's coming out to Eddie Howe and going, I normally play him a bit closer to goal. It's a little bit embarrassing for me. I think we're not giving the kid the credit he's had. He's come into a new league, away from home, and he's got whatever it is in assists and goals. I think he's done all right this season. I genuinely think he's done a good job. But we're playing him out and we're trying to turn him into something he's not. So that's down to Eddie and the team. And you can blame... Yesterday, he's on about PSR. We don't have the revenue that other teams have. We don't have this. The rules changed. We don't have the players. We've had injuries. We've got 2 games a week. It's fatigue. Dear God, do me a favour. Shut up. You wanted to get to Europe. You're going to have 2 or 3 games a week. Deal with it. You're going to have injuries. As for PSR, there's 5 teams above of us with the same limitations who've spent less than us, including Sunderland, Brentford, others, and they're above us in the league with more points. So, I'm sorry, Eddie, but it doesn't cut the mustard. You're wrong. Yes, there's PSR, but there's ways around it. Stop buying Premier League proven players that only you and your cousin want to sign. We could have looked at technical players like Ryan Cherokee from Man City. 20 million. Oh my days, lads! I would have given heaven and earth to have him in a team, but we didn't. We went off and we bought a Langer and we bought Wisa and we spent, whatever it is, 150 million. Howe takes a lot of the blame for statistics, for the tactics. He takes it for the setup. He takes it for the in-game management. He takes it for the buys that we've had in the summer. And yeah, I agree. The club have let him down. So to finish up, I think he gets to the summer. I think after that, it has to change. Do I want to let him loose with the purse strings in the summer? This part of me says, do you know what? If Wilson can do his job, then let's see what he can do. But I'm also scared to let him loose with the purse strings if we have the same issues. So it's a double-edged sword. The next thing I would say is we need to hear from PIF because their silence is absolutely deafening. What's happening with the stadium? What's happening with Eddie can sit there yesterday and say we don't have the revenue. What's happening with the commercials? What's happening with the training gear? What's happening with the stadium? You've got 3 weeks now. There's no games till we play Palace. Now's a good time to communicate that to the fans. And we're in a shit spot after yesterday. So give us something good to clasp onto because there's nothing at the minute. Nothing. So PIF, I watched The Professional the other night. Penman and Mitch made a good point. There needs to be a representative from PIF based in Newcastle, and we need to see it day on day. And it's great having somebody like Hopkinson giving us sound bites about we want to bring the league by 2030. Fuck off, lad. You're a daydreamer. You're a daydreamer because we're 1,000,000 miles away from it. 1,000,000 miles. I would say to a point we've actually regressed this season. We've regressed. So you can blame 100 things, but at the end of the day, Eddie has to get a tune out of what he's got there, regardless of injuries. Kev will tell you, Kev's a coach. You get injuries. It happens in rugby, hockey, baseball, basketball, every sport, gymnastics. You have to get a tune out of what you got. He spent 400 plus million, and he can't get a tune out of them against our greatest rivals in their first season back. Well, do you know what? Fucking it's shit or bust. Sort it out. Do I think we'll get to Europe? No. I don't think we'll hit a European spot this season. Prove me wrong. But D-Day is at the end of the season. I want to hear from PIF. I want to hear what the strategy is moving forward. And the last thing I would say, a chunk of this has been going backwards. And I don't know what mistakes were made or where it went to. But since Amanda and Maydad left the club, we haven't been the same. And there's been no leadership. None. And the voice of the club, we were critiques of Ashley saying there was no communication. Well, do you know what? Fuck me, lads. Where is it now? Because it ain't there.
Great stuff.
That's me.
Martin.
Rant done.
Sorry,
Steve.
Some good points made. We've only got 23 minutes to. We've only got 23 minutes to fit everybody else in. So, and Chloe will be joining us again. She always has technical issues, unfortunately.
Steve on mute, is he?
Can you hear me, Kev?
I can.
Good stuff, Kev. Go for it, mate. Go for it, Kev. Give us your opinion.
Well, shit, how to follow that?
Exactly, Kev.
Sorry, Kev.
No, mate. I completely agree with you, and I'll go with your latter part of the Bournemouth podcast thing. I've been saying this for a year and a half. If you look at his points total percentage, it's always been hovering around 1.5% points per game average across those 10 years that he's had from Bournemouth into now Newcastle United. Bournemouth was just under 1.5. Now it's 1.7 for us. So it's roughly the same. So the trend is going in one particular direction and it's down. And he stole half my thunder, Martin, in terms of we're regressing. We're not. I don't. If this is a project, this project going backwards, it's going the opposite way. However, so I just want to completely agree with what every word you just said, mate, and thank you for sharing. The Barcelona game, I mean, it was schoolboy stuff. It was, I mean, my under 14 girls could have defended better. I mean, it was shocking in terms of no desire to close the ball down. And this leads into my point against Sunderland, by the way, as well. You know, you're given one of the best clubs in the world, regardless of their politics and how they operate and what they do as a football club. If you give them world-class players, which they are, that amount of space, they will rip you a new one. And that's what happened. They said, okay, we'll give you 45 minutes like they did in the first leg. It's in James's. We'll see what you like, but we'll be comfortable enough. We know what the talent we have, and we'll just play through lines. And Eddie tries to go man marking, and excuse me. And yes, you can go man to man. You can do that in certain particular games. You've got to be clever how you do that. If you know you're playing against a championship side or even lesser, then you can go maybe man to man and be that dominant team within that game. But against Barcelona, I'm sorry, Eddie, you can't. You've got to play. You've got to play what's in front of you. You can't give Barcelona the amount of time and space they had. I mean, they were just walking around with the football and they were just bouncing it around us as if it was a training game. It was like playing our under 18s. It was. I just sat down. I said that once they scored that penalty before half time, I said the game was over, done. And I just sat and kind of done my job a little bit, watched a little bit, you know, just lost complete interest. So that's Barcelona out of the way. So you think, okay, can we have a response? Like, agree with that. You know, the tifos, the fanfare, the whole, and I completely condone the violence outside of it. I condone the racial abuse towards players, because absolutely that's not Newcastle United. However, yes, you can have a big fanfare, the occasion. George talks about the occasion. We all love the occasion. But the occasion is the football match, not the flags, not that. It's brilliant to see on TV. It's a spectacle. That's what you want to go. You pay your money for, correct? So for me, that's all well and good. I would have got every first team player, staff to stand and watch that and see that and purposely look at it. And this is what this thing fucking means to be from Newcastle and be from the city. Yes, I know, Tom, you're adopted Geordie and we love you, so we'll incorporate you in. But if you're born here, if you're born there, I'm an expat. So if you're born in the city and you know what it means to pull on, George will tell you, if you know what it means to put on that black and white shirt. I had the privilege as an academy player to play and put that black and white shirt on. I would give my left and right arm to pull on that black and white shirt and play in that game yesterday. And I would run through a damn brick wall to do everything I can to win that game, knowing that we got beat off Barcelona, knowing that we got beat off Sunderland down the road, 1-0 own goal, granted, but we still got beat. You don't see that in league tables. You just see what the result is. But yesterday, in my personal opinion, and I've said it for a while, pretty much Eddie Howe fell on his sword yesterday. I was pretty much had splinters in my arse. I was on the fence in terms of in or out. I just wanted to see where he would take us. I had a lot of there's more questions than answers at this point to what he's doing tactically. Yes, he brings in players. Totally agree with Martin in that. Nobody, it's plays his best, like his favourites, if you will. It's the ones who he can trust, but those are favourites. Those are favourites of his who not saying that they're going to get the best out of him. It's the Dan Burns, the Kieran Trippiers of the world, you name them, whatever. But yesterday, and I put it in the chat, the word was inept. It was completely inept, spineless. Didn't seem like anybody wanted to be on that football pitch. Not saying the occasion got to him. It's not another game. It's not another game. It's against Sunderland, 13 miles away. This is our rival. And they didn't get that. And they didn't pick it up. And for all year, this is what it's been. It's copy and paste all year. Doesn't matter who we play. play well for 10 minutes, drop off and sit into a crap low block, go side to side with the football while in possession. Like Martin said, slow it down. Well, you name it, we've seen it all season. And it all came to a crescendo yesterday of how poorly, I'm not saying poorly coached, but how inadequate our football players are at delivering in the game for 90 minutes. I don't care how many games of football you played. You're getting millions and millions of pounds to play the game that we all love on this panel. Again, love to do it I have the pleasure to do it as a job. This is a dream of mine, even just to coach it, because I didn't have the opportunity to play it. So the next best thing is to be in the game. So I pass on what I didn't get. And it drives me through the wall that a player can't, like the Tyne Livramento one where he just stood there and watched Brobby score. Letting Brobby win the first contact. Letting players have tons of space. And yesterday, and like Granit Xhaka, I mean, he's 36, he's 30 odd, whatever. He ran the game. He thought he was the Billy Big Bollocks of the whole game. Why can't somebody go like Jacob Ramsey, Joe Linton? Look, I would put a bet on for Joe Linton to go and smash him in the first 10 minutes and say, okay, you're in a derby here, son. But he didn't. It was like, okay, we'll just tickle your belly. There you go. We'll just let you have it. And then again, we'll go and do what we do and just drop off.
But Xhaka showed his experience, though. It showed you he ran the midfield.
Well, I don't care. Again, I don't care how much experience you got. If you get into somebody's face, if you press them and properly press them in the center of the midfield, and we all said this is where the game's going to be won or lost in every game so far this season. That's where you've got to put a marker down in the game, especially in a derby. Yeah, you have to put a marker down. You have to put your foot in. You have to get involved. You have to make it ugly. You have to make it difficult for the opposition to play. We didn't. We sat off, and it was nice. Like I've said previously, you have to be. You can't be nice on a football pitch. You can't be all shaky hands, giving everybody cuddles and whatever. You can't do that. You have to be ugly. You put everything outside of what's going on in your life and go and perform. That's what you're getting paid for. And it's damn disappointing to see it disintegrate from inside out. What's happening? It's disintegrating from the inside out. The club as a whole is an absolute disaster. From that personally. So again, it's disappointing. It's sad. But you lads over there in Europe had the opportunity to sleep it all off and all the rest of it. Well, I had to go and coach and figure all that out and work, and go and do my job, all that. So, but anyway, thank you for the time. And
cheers, Kev. Cheers, Kev. I've got about 12 minutes to get George and Alan in, so I'm going to have to move on. George, over to you, mate.
Well, can I maybe before I say anything, make it clear? After 80 years of supporting Newcastle United, of course, I get used to occasionally getting beat. And I don't mind getting beat. I mean, we got beat of Manchester City in the Cup, in the Carabao Cup, which they went on to win. And yes, we got heavily defeated at Barcelona when Dan Burn, Trippier and Ramsdale went walkabout when they should have been doing their jobs. So that, I can put up with those defeats. So can I park Barcelona and go to Sunday? Because I could have been wretched sick after that match on Sunday. It was so bad. Only one player comes out of it with any slightest bit of credit. That's Anthony Gordon. And I think you give the goal away a bit cheap, Steve. It got it because of his persistence. He wasn't going to let that go. And once he got it, it was in the back of the net. And from then on, he was the only player that was ever going to do anything. Even up to just 2 minutes before he was substituted, he'd had 2 shots and goal. Yes, they went high and wide, but at least he was having a go. And what did Eddie Howe do? He took him up and put Wisser on, who was an ace at going into no man's land. We've got players who I wonder where the football brain is. Elanga, I thought maybe Barcelona was the turning point. It wasn't. He's worse than bloody ever against Sunderland. He's a right winger and you want him to hug the touchline and he gets in between the touchline and the penalty area. So he's absolutely useless to everybody. I mean, where's the football brains? And, it just, and Whistler's the same. He comes on and if he had more than one touch in their penalty area yesterday, I'll eat my hat. I don't think he did. And that's because he finds no man's land. So he can't get the hard pass. He can't get the tough ball. Absolute cowardice. Martin hit the nail on the head. Absolute cowards. And as for Dan Byrne, the local man, the only time he made himself really visible was right towards the end. He made this great long sliding tackle. Well, Dan, we needed that in the first minute, not the last minute. Absolutely awful. It was abysmal. So, and I'll stop there because it's absolutely just appalling. Because there's something else I want to say and I don't want to lose it. PIF don't get away with this either. Because where was our chairman? The Sunderland chairman and his board all sat through that game, came to that game knowing that the pundits were saying and idiots like me were saying that they were going to get a thumping, and they sat right through it. Well, they got what they deserved. They got a win, a justified win. Gran Xhaka was the man of the match. Whoever at Sunderland brought him into the club needs a pay rise because that was great. Probably the centre forward. He was just a bully. That the tackle where he split Botman's head. Another referee would have sent him off for that, instead of Alan Oliver just pointing his finger. But if he gets away with it, he's going to do it. And if he was playing for me, I'd want him to do it as well. And he bullied the whole lot, doesn't matter which one. And of course, the savvy centre-half, who would have cured that by a sharp elbow in the ear, is injured at the moment. Shaw would have fettled him with a little bit of common sense. It was appalling. So where was our chairman? He wasn't there. He keep telling me I keep hearing that they've got the project. They know what the Geordies want. They haven't got a bloody clue after yesterday, I tell you. And neither has Eddie Howe, sadly. After that, Eddie's gone for me. He's disappeared off my radar as of yesterday. If you cannot persuade 11 people in black and white to kick this stuffing out of 11 players in red and white twice in a season, you're not doing your job for me. That's the end. Absolutely awful, unbelievably so. And the last thing, I'm trying to hurry to let Alan have a few words. Martin said it, and I'll say it again. I come on here and I trumpet how great the takeover's been and all the rest of it, and think that the PIF have got the project. They haven't. I've realised I've been sold a bill of goods like everybody else. The project that I was voting for was the Amanda Staveley project, the positive one, the one that I could get a handle on. I can't get a handle on this one because there's nobody to get a hold of. And we've got a new chief executive. If he goes down to the stack sometimes before the end of the season and sings Braden Races, I'll go to the town and kick his arse. Really will. Absolutely awful. We don't need that. What we need is somebody to run a football club. And they're not running it at the moment. So come on. Let's get some ideas. Let's get some people running the thing. And goodbye, Eddie. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, George. Alan, over to you, mate.
That's great points by everybody. Martin took a lot of me points I was going to say, Steve, Kevin, George. George, that's what I was saying a few weeks ago when I had my rant about the stadium, about the sponsors, about this. What's the direction of travel of the club? I mean, that was an absolute disaster. I agree with you, George. I forget about Barcelona because they're elite club. We got destroyed, like Kevin said, and the lads before was saying if you give elite players space and time, they're going to wallop you. I said at half time when Trippier fouled him 3-2, I thought we played well again the first half. I thought we'll end up 5-2 and end up 7-2. You don't give class players time like that. It was a shambles in the second half at Barcelona. getting to the Sunderland game, again, I'll go back to the racist thing. We're not cavemen. People should grow up. It's 2026. The people skin or colour, whatever, shouting insults. It's for a bygone age. Everybody in the club should get the people out and ban them for life. It's no good. You've got to get rid of them. So everybody on the platform and watching this show should agree with that. Getting back to the points that haven't been made, lads, we've lost 22 points in winning positions. That's weak mentality, absolutely weak mentality. I couldn't believe 10 minutes gone, everything goes in the garden. The start of the game was fantastic, like the lads have said. Then we sit back. They had a dodgy keeper, a young keeper who was shitting his pants. And we didn't have shots at him. We didn't go for it. Now you've got Dan Burn and Trippier saying, calm down. No, we should have went for the throat like we did the first season when we came fourth. We were going for teams and winning by 2, 3, 4 goals. It was absolutely, I was shouting, what's this sideways passing back and forwards? Of course, Sunderland got more and more into the game, and then you could tell what was going to happen in the second half. Like Darren says, you could tell the goal was happening. They equalised, and there was only going to be one winner, and Sunderland dominated the second half. I thought to myself, what's going on here? And Eddie has to, take the blame for it. And like I say, I'm the Eddie Howe's #1 fan, and yet you cannot excuse getting beat off them. They've got a rubbish bloody record away from home. They played Brighton the week before. They were rubbish, man. And he changed his tactics to the Breeze in the second half, and Eddie had no answer. Like Kevin says, no answer whatsoever. And the players, the energy levels, whatever, the feet were in bloody lead boots. They were nowhere. Absolutely, everybody said points. I mean, we've got 7 games to go. I'll rattle through the points that I don't think's been mentioned. We've got a World Cup. Do you think half of them squad are going to put 100% in case they get injured? Especially if we're say 10th with 2 games to go. Do you think the likes of Gordon are going to put 100% in? Bruno and Tonali? Oh, World Cup's coming on. I don't think I'll get injured. The way the mentality is. And like George quite rightly said, and Martin, I want a year from Piff in the summer. What's the direction of the club? What have they got for us? Because
no, Alan, no, not this summer.
Well, I agree, George, but that's how they look at it. I want statement of the club where we're going, and if it's Eddie Howe out in the summer, Eddie Howe out, and I'll thank him greatly for what he's done. But now we're all thinking, has he reached the end of the road? Is this the limit? Because I agree with Martin. I'm going to come on the show tonight, lads, and think, get the deadwood out, give it till October, November, and see what we go. But now I'm thinking to myself, how can we trust him with the players he's bought and the statement Martin said about what Bournemouth fans thought, and it's spot on. I'll let it go, Steve. I like everybody.
Sorry, Steve, but one last point. Where's his mentality when he takes that team round the pitch for a victory lap when we're being well and truly kicked up the backside by our nearest rivals? I had a quote with Lee Clark last night in the Strawberry, and I said to Lee, do you think Kevin Keegan or Bobby Robson would have let you have a lap of honour after that? And he just laughed. Ridiculous. Who does he think he is? The lap of honour's not for him.
George Keegan never lost a derby.
No. It's been a great show tonight. Thanks to Martin, thanks to Alan, thanks to George, to Kevin, to Darren, to Tom. Sorry we didn't get Chloe on due to technical problems. I have to go. I've got another couple of podcasts to do tonight. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We knew it would be feisty tonight. Eddie in or out? Well, there's 242 votes tonight in the chat. 62% say out, 38% say in. I don't think it's out of order to put that in there tonight. Barry Hogan asked us to put it in, but it gives you a cross section of 240 people in the chat tonight. Of which
what other podcasts have been getting, Steve?
Yeah, and I think it's always measured on here. I've seen some other podcasts tonight and yesterday. You know, some people try to coin it on these kind of things. We don't like to do that. We just like to give a cross section of views, and that's what the Fans Forum always does. Back tomorrow night with Rob and with Sid for Talk of the Tune. Look forward to seeing everybody then. But for now, thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. Thanks very much, guys. Take care.
Cheers, lads.
Good to see you, lads. Good to see you.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com, or contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to United Group Travel, our fanzine sponsor. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach. All excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Or telephone 01670 632 460. Or mobile 0791 666 4174. Deposits from £50 per person. A big thanks to Media Arts. Their website, www.media-arts.co.uk. Email info@media-arts.co.uk. Or telephone 0191 637 5061. If you want to help support the channel, then you can click the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. It is free. Hit the thumb up to like the video and click share to share to your social media. A big thanks to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can listen to us on the road, on this network, or by tuning into iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. You can also join the channel by hitting the join button on YouTube, or go to our website, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. You can pay a one-off fee of £25 and you'll receive a membership card, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a key ring, a badge and a pen. £25, nufcmatters.co.uk.